The Rams have a close victory against the Baltimore Ravens, 17-3. I was sweating that entire game. But how did the Rams win that game? What happened in this game? The good, the bad, the great, the ugly. We'll talk about that next on this post-game reaction episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any video throughout this 2025 season. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, hey, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams fans out there. Any of those options, and me and Mark very much appreciate it, and it helps the channel be seen by many people, and we very much appreciate it once again. But, oh, God, Mark. Thank God the Rams won. And look, I'll hold myself accountable. In the Keys to Victory, the game preview episode where we're going through the Ravens roster and predicting how things were going to go and what we hope to see. I mean, look, I was being real, trying to be as objective as possible. I picked the Rams to lose this game. I'm glad they won. Mark, obviously, being in the right here, he picked the Rams to win. But I was worried, and my prediction of them losing this game was looking pretty spot on through a half of football, Mark. But ultimately, plays were made. Defensive stops, enough offensive production happened where the Rams won a game and we're 4-2, and that's better than being 3-3, right? Shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I can take credit for picking the Rams to win, but I did not expect it to go down like this. I thought we were going to put a 30 spot up on them. We were going to move the ball up and down the field like we should have. And I thought we were going to put the clamps on Derrick Henry. He would not be an issue. That would be the focus of our defense. And so I was wrong in a lot of ways. And but I did get the final result correct, sort of, kind of.
No, I mean, hey, look at any victory we're going to freaking take. Now, was it pretty in this game? Absolutely not. But let's highlight some good things before we get into the nitty gritty, right? How about this fun stat? Shout out to Rams PR, always having good stuff. We like to pull them up, and shout out to that PR team for finding these out. You have here the duo of Sean McVay and Les Snead is pretty dang good in the history of the NFL, everyone, from Rams PR on Twitter X. With today's win against the Baltimore Ravens, head coach Sean McVay and general manager Les Snead moved to 16th all-time winningest head coach / GM duos in the in the 100+ year NFL history. Pretty crazy. They enter a tie with Bobby Beathard and Joe Gibbs from the Washington Redskin days. You know, Joe Gibbs is a Hall of Fame coach. He's got 3 championships in 3 different Redskin eras, which is crazy in itself, Mark. And then Bill Polian and Tony Dungy, right? Indianapolis's golden gem of a coach GM duo. And they're all tied regular and postseason with 92 wins. So that's a great company, Mark. Les Snead, Sean with Bobby, Gibbs, Polian, Dungy. A lot of Hall of Famers right there.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna, tack on another 20, 30 wins together at least. They got a lot of work left to do. So yeah, good. And these 2 guys are so much fun to watch them work, especially during the draft. They certainly have a really good relationship, and it's kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty dang cool. But you know what else is cool? Matthew Stafford continuing to climb up and pass other Hall of Famers. Shout out to Rams PR again. Matthew Stafford passed Dan Marino today and moved to 9th all-time in passing yards. I mean, my God. Thank God Matthew Stafford ended up on the Rams, not just for our own benefit of winning a Super Bowl championship and our own benefit of him playing at elite level for many, many years with this Rams squad, but the world will appreciate it more than if he were to be with the Lions. Now, there's an alternate timeline where he stays with the Lions, and maybe they are still good. Maybe they don't get any better, right? Who knows? I'm sure with former Rams Brad Holmes, they would eventually have gotten good, but that's a different timeline we all don't exist in. But I'm glad that this version that we all enjoy has Matthew Stafford climbing up, getting notoriety that he should have in his Detroit days, but he's doing it as a Ram. And everyone will remember these stats, Mark, these milestones for his hopeful Hall of Fame resume as a Ram. And that's pretty dang cool. He will go in as a Ram and will pass these giant milestones as a Ram as long as he wants to play for hopefully a couple more years. We'll see what happens. That's a different story. But passing Dan Marino, wow.
Yeah, and next up for Stafford, I was looking at this earlier. Matt Ryan, his buddy, then Philip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, who will be difficult to catch because he's still
Yeah, he's
playing,
still adding on.
and then Ben Roethlisberger. And I'm thinking he's going to end up probably the fifth all-time leading passer in the NFL. Not for sure. It's
Yeah.
not a given, but Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre all over 70,000. But I think he'll leapfrog these other guys. So.
That'd be, I mean, if he were to finish top 5, that means he played a lot more time with the Rams, which is great. And then also he's balling out. So I hope that happens. But passing Dan Marino, that's a great accomplishment to celebrate everyone in Rams Nation. The good. And you know what else is pretty freaking crazy, Mark? Nate Landman making history as a Ram. I mean, think about it real quick. For the price, for the budget, for the impact on the field. I mean, is there a better free agent signing than Nate Landman? Hold that thought. Let's go through this fun stat. Nate Landman set the franchise Rams record today for the most tackles in a single game was 17. Since 1994, I wasn't even alive then for everyone out there for reference. Only 4 other Rams have recorded 16 or more tackles in a single game. James Laurinaitis versus the Cardinals in 2009. He's a fan favorite. Alec Ogletree in 2015. He was a fan favorite versus Washington. And then good old safety turned to linebacker Mark Barron in 2015 as well. Man, Mark. Nate
Yeah.
Landman. And that's not even including the peanut punch on Zay Flowers that he got, or whoever that was, if I'm blanking on the player. But dude's a baller, man.
Yeah, and what's really the coolest thing about it is, I don't think I'm alone. When the Rams signed him, I was like, Nate, who?
Look
Falcons,
at me
really?
too. Let's be real.
And then here he is. Like I don't understand why he wasn't a known quantity before the signing,
Yeah.
because he's an old school linebacker, team leader.
Mm.
I don't know, man. Yeah, you're right. It's one of our better free agent signings in recent history. That's for sure.
By far, again, for the impact on the field, for the price, right? The budget, the salary cap, I can't even speak right now, implications, all that stuff, guaranteed money. And then he was a captain. He's a leader outside of that. That's triple. It's a home run, in my opinion. I know I just named 3 things I probably should have named before, but when you're breaking Rams records, that's a home run, in my opinion. There you go. That's the 4th. How about that? So that's all the good in this game, Rams Nation. We wanted to point that out. Records being broken, history being made with head coach, GM, quarterback, your Mike inside linebacker. Those are all freaking good things in this 17-3 win against the Ravens. But all right, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's break it down to you. Let's go through this. So the first quarter starts, Mark, right? And the Ravens are driving down 5-yard run, 11-yard run, 6-yard run. Derrick Henry just looks unstoppable. And I was like, oh, how fun. We did a good job against the other Pro Bowl running backs in this league. But, the King Henry is going to kill us. And luckily, right, they get into the red zone. They have a bunch of penalties. We luck out into that. Then, in a 3rd and 18, they're not getting that with Cooper Rush, and they end up kicking a field goal. Let me ask you at that point, Mark, when we saw the defense just getting gashed on the ground, how concerned were you, even though, yes, they only got 3 points? I was not feeling good at that point, truthfully.
Yeah, no, it was kind of a reminder of deja vu with the 49ers. 49ers did it in a different way, but you have your offense sitting on the sideline,
Yeah, dude.
watching half the quarter get gobbled up, and you're thinking, "Yeah, we're gonna put a 30 spot up on these guys, not if they're gonna chew up 8 minutes a drive, whether it results in a field goal or a touchdown, doesn't matter. You're just chewing up so much time, shortening the game, and that's why I think you said it. We have to go into this game and do everything we can to take away Henry in the running game,
Yep.
and it wasn't working. But I have to say, Watching the game, I did not understand them pulling Henry off the field in some of those short yardage goal line situations.
Yeah.
And that I don't get it. I'll never understand it. They had the tight end running later in the game. I know you'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will.
Getting doing the tush push, I guess you could
Mhm.
call it, with their tight end, and Derrick Henry's on the sideline. So yeah, but you're right that first drive, I was like, oh come on, man, just get a stop here and get the ball to our offense. And it was a long drive. And fortunately, we held them to a field goal.
I mean, Mark, that drive was almost 8 minutes long to start the
Right.
game. There was a clip of I'm not a clip, a shot of Matthew Stafford when they're in the red zone, and he's just like
Right.
looking kind of not like concerned, but he had to look like, is this happening right now? Like, are they really gonna just eat up this whole first quarter? And I was feeling the same way. I was like, this is crazy. But hey, like I said, hell of 3 points, all is well, and Rams get the ball back. And they have a nice drive themselves, right? 5 yards here, 6 yards here. You see Devontae get involved, Puka, of course. Then you have a big Tyler Higbee catch, right? Where he was open deep, down the field on that play action boot where Nakua was open on the shorter flat route running to the sideline. But Matthew said, oh, no, we got a wide open tight end there. Right. Tight ends don't get involved very much. Hit that. All right. I'm like, all right, good. We're cooking right now. Good run here. Then a couple incompletions to Devontae Adams there, Mark, where I was like, dang it, man. Like their connection is just not as good as it should be. Now, many people throw out the idea, and I'll ask you this of, hey, is it because Matthew Stafford didn't practice a lick in the offseason, training camp, et cetera? Not the offseason, training camp. Does that have a lot to do with it? Some people propose that to be the main reason. Others say, hey, maybe just the flurry of game action, they both go revert to their old ways and they're just not on the same page that way. I mean, what's your opinion on that? Because the two that they missed on, and especially that one where Matthew Stafford, he just flat out missed him in that corner route to the end zone. But for whatever reason, this game, previous games, there's just not a great synergy and how Devontae is running routes and Matthew Stafford is seeing it, throwing it to him. They make some good catches, but it's not where it should be based on how good both these players are, Mark. I mean, what are your thoughts on why that's an issue still, honestly?
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna put it on synergy. I'm gonna mention two things that my eyes are telling me. One, there are times where Stafford's just not as accurate as we'd like him to be. He's
True.
been
Yeah.
he's had a lot of misses high this year for some reason.
Yeah.
And then Adams is not making great to really strong catches. I don't know how to put it. It's like he's had a couple of drops, but then there's also a handful of plays where he's like, maybe you could have had that one. It would have been a really nice catch. But we would hope the Devontae Adams to
Yeah.
squeeze it and make the catch. It's a little combination of that. And there was one play a couple of weeks ago, it might have been against the 49ers. We had a total miscommunication. So it's just a lot of little things, I think. It's Stafford not being as accurate consistently, uh, Adams not being the clutch catcher that we had hoped he would be so far,
Yeah.
and some in the synergy part of it. I think that's valid as well.
And I think the positive out of all that Rams Nation is that God, they can be really good together if they get this together, which I think they're both Hall of Fame worthy enough to get it together, right? Both of them. So that's the positive. We haven't seen the best, and there's been some really good moments with them, but I think it could be even better. And hopefully, we see that throughout this hopeful Super Bowl run, right? But they miss on that. And then, okay, let's move on to another thing that's having the fandom and myself just in a pissy mood about. Joshua Cardi misses a freaking field goal. Now let's back it up here. Yes, the protection, the O line up there hasn't been great. True. Yes, Cardi has been good with the knuckleball stuff. True as well. And I think that combination of the two, Mark, is screwing with his confidence. I think because the O line blocking in field goal PAT situations hasn't been good throughout the season, and because the knuckleball is a different kick. No matter what Blackburn, the special teams coordinator, or Sean McVay says, the stroke, the way he's physically moving his leg, aiming. It is different. They can say we're trying to get it similar, but it is different. It's almost like, hey, we want you to throw a 40-yard plus bomb accurately down the field, quarterback. But then, hey, don't throw that the same when you're throwing a little bit shorter, right? You can try to get the throwing motion the same, but it's different. It is. So I say all that to say, I think that combination of two things, flaky O-line blocking and his dirty kickoffs, it's screwing with him. It's screwing with his confidence. It's screwing with his mechanics. And we're getting chip shot field goals being missed. Now, you can argue, well, Ian, look, if you look at the replay, it was going down the middle. Then it was a windy day, so it whipped to the right. But that don't matter to me, man. Kickers are trained to deal with the weather. Now, it's not going to go perfect. I get it. But when you're that close, you cannot whiff on that, man. And I just think this dude's confidence is shot. I think his mechanics are blending in together too much. And I think he doesn't have the confidence in the O-line to break. So he's just having that moment of wincing. I don't know any of this for a fact. But when you get Pat McAfee saying, I think the dirty kicks is messing with his field goals, I want to listen to a former Pro Bowl kicker punter on that. So, Mark, I mean, your thoughts on Cardi. What do you think the issue is, dude? What do you think is going on? Do you agree with anything I said? O-line, his confidence, dirty kicks. Do you agree with what Pat McAfee
Yeah.
said? Or do you think it's a combo of all of them? I mean, it's an issue,
Well,
dude.
I put a lot of weight on what McAfee would have to say on the subject, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's all guesswork. But
Yeah.
bottom line is he's not making kicks that he should make.
Yeah.
Whether it's yeah, I don't know what the solution is if you don't want to give up the dirty kicks and tell them we're not doing that anymore. I would be okay with that if that was going to improve
Yeah.
his kicking. Yeah, that's fine.
I
And
agree with that.
and then we'll talk about the one. I'll save my opinion on when we've passed on the field goal attempt. I'll save that
Yeah.
for later because I'm sure we're going to
Sure.
get to that. But yeah, I wish I knew. We can only guess, but I don't know. It's really confounding because
That's a good word.
two and a half weeks into the season, I was pretty happy with our kicking game, and now it's like, are the 49ers pull Eddie Pinero off the street, and he's kicking 59 yarders,
Of course.
and and we can't hit. I think it was a 26 yarder. Bang, boing, hits the upright.
That was a
Uh,
loud point, too. That wasn't like some, of course. Of
I
course.
know.
But
Yeah.
well, Rams Nation, then I'm like, oh yeah, they're in a bad spot, right? Long drive, can't even get a field goal. And so, okay, some good happens finally. Quinn Lake on the very couple plays later when Baltimore gets the turnover on downs, obviously, he intercepts in front of Zay Flowers. And he talked about in the post-game, Mark. He said, hey, this is something we saw on film a bunch. We practiced against it, right? And he said, hey, they ran the play with different people, but it was the same route combination. And he talked about it. He's like, hey, I wanted to, as a more experienced player, this is Quinn Lake talking here. I'm paraphrasing. He was like, I want to take more calculated risk. He's like, I think I have the preparation. I think I have the skill set. And I think to be a good player and make impactful plays to win games, he's like, you got to take calculated risk. He's like, so I took one, and he did, and he intercepted and jumped that route in front of Zay Flowers. And at that point, I was like, oh, thank God, defense. Thank God. I mean, you're at your moment of clarity and hope, maybe positivity, when Quinn Lake jumped that route and got it, Mark. And your thoughts on him mentioning that, hey, my preparation set me up for that play. Pretty cool. For his first INT in
Yeah,
his
that's
career.
what
Isn't that crazy? Damn,
yeah,
dude.
as good a player as he is, that really surprised me. I was unaware of that, and,
Yeah.
good for him, man, because he's a player that, kind of flies under the radar a little bit, but he's such never misses a snap, right? He's
Yeah.
such a
He's
critical,
good.
important part of this defense, so it's cool to see him make a big play.
Yeah, it was good. And shout out to that preparation, Captain Q. That's what captains do. You ball out and you make a play when you need it. But what do the Rams do with that? Nothing. On the very next play, Matthew Stafford drops back and he gets hit, forced fumble, and then Jenkins forces the fumble, recovers it, and then he gets a little extra yardage on that. And I was like, geez, I was like, today's not our day, Mark. At that point, I was like, yes, only first quarter, but I was like, this is just going so terribly. And the Rams don't do a good job more times than not recovering from multiple mishaps in a row like that. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Quinn Lake just handed us a Christmas gift saying, hey, guys, I got you. Here's an INT. Get the ball back. Let's get some points. And they fumble in the next play. I couldn't believe it, Mark.
Yeah, and especially with the Ravens defensive line, they lost their best player. They have not been playing well, giving up like 30 points a game. And to get I think it was Coleman Shelton that got blew up on that play, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'll
He
look
was
back at the film, but
yeah, he was in on Stafford so fast. Yeah, it was really disappointing. And we had a couple of ebb and flow moments in that game that were really disturbing, and that was one of them.
yeah, no crap. So, okay, after all that, everyone, that was a first quarter worth of craziness. Isn't that insane? Jeez Louise, even rehashing it with all of us together right now. Oh my, I can't believe all that transpired in the first quarter. So, finally, we jump to the second quarter after that insane first. Baltimore gets the ball back, and luckily they couldn't do Jack Tilly squat with that, right? Cooper Rush throws a deep pass, just wildly out throws Zay Flowers as he was getting pressured by Byron Young there, and they turned over it on downs as they were being greedy, trying to get a touchdown there. And they had some penalties, but I mean, at that point, Mark, I was like, oh my God, Baltimore screwing it up more than us. Thank goodness.
Right. Right, and, yeah, and, I still don't understand why they were rolling with Cooper Rush. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and,
Yeah.
as bad as we played, my special assistant made this point. It may have been, a advantage Rams that the Rams played so poorly in the first half because it delayed Tyler Huntley entering the game,
Yeah, we'll
right?
talk about that.
So, yeah, another, yeah, pretty confounding.
So luckily, right, Cooper Rush, Zay Flowers can't connect as the pressure from Byron Young, who had a good game. We'll get to more of him later. So, okay, Rams get the ball back. My God. So, hey, they're getting a drive going, right? Convert here, convert there. They get Puka Nakua involved, et cetera, et cetera. Blake Corum has a nice run to the outside. Remember that one? I was like, ooh. And look at, man, I know Blake Corum, look at, he fumbled that crack toss pitch against the 49ers, which got him, sidelined for majority of the game. They're like, yeah, you're out this game. But he's got that explosive nature that Kyron doesn't. We've talked about it in previous games. We've talked about it even in training camp. He just does. He has more of the shimmy shake, put you on skates. And then if you let me get open areas, like I'll outrun your guys. Not everybody, but he's definitely got the most explosion, quote unquote. And that was a display right there, Mark. I really enjoyed that. But hey, get some other passes going on. Nakua has a crucial deep in route where he catches it and then runs for extra and gets about 20, 25 yards on. And then, dang it. We just cannot connect with Devontae Adams in the red zone. And I get it. Devontae was brought in to help with the red zone stuff, but they're not connecting. Things aren't going well. And then let me jump before that. I'm jumping the gun here as my memory serves me correctly. Nakua gets an end zone shot, right, Mark? And
Yeah, I'm
on
looking
that
at it
one,
now.
whatever happened, now everyone's got their theories. What I think happened, Mark, is that when he was jumping up with Marlon Humphrey, who also got injured later in that game, which is crazy too, by the way. I think Marlon Humphrey's knee slammed into like the shin/ankle area of Nakua because when he's leaping up, doesn't look like anything's wrong. Even when he lands, didn't look like his ankle rolled or was anything crazy. I really think that the impact from Marlon Humphrey's knee, and I could be wrong on this is just my guess, smacked into that upper high ankle slash fibula, tibula. I don't know the anatomy correctly, but forgive me on that area, Mark. And I think that's where he got banged up. But let me ask you this. Did your Rams hopes and dreams flash before your eyes like mine did when that happened? And he's there wincing and holding his leg. I was like, oh no, he broke his
Yeah.
leg. I was
It
like,
really it
me.
it really didn't because I remember, I don't know what year it was. There was a game where, remember that game where Puka got slammed and he was holding his shoulder and it
Yeah, I
looked
thought he
like
broke
his
his
season.
shoulder or broke his collarbone. I
Right,
thought
and
that
then
for
he
sure as
comes
well.
out in the second half. I think he's a guy that plays so tough and so hard that, he gets dinged up a lot and maybe has a low pain tolerance, in the moment.
Yeah.
and then he comes back. But I was hopeful. We both thought my son and I watching the game. You know what? He's probably going to be back, and he did try to make a run at it. But I was worried. I understand where you're coming from because he is he's pretty kind of an important player, and a lot of that is it's unfortunate the Rams and Stafford and McVay, are so Puka centric, and they used to be so Cooper Cup centric, and they don't get other guys involved. Like other teams get so many different wide receivers involved and tight ends. So I think it would be much more impactful for the Rams to lose a guy like him than it would be for other teams, if that makes any sense. But
It makes sense to me because let's be real, Mark and Rams Nation. Let's not joke around and kid ourselves. If Nakua has any significant amount of time missed where let's just hope playoff games happen for us, right? We're in a good spot. We can earn that still. I mean, there's no chance they win the Super Bowl if he's not 100%. Let's just not kid ourselves. Let's be real.
right.
Not 100% Puka Nakua will not get this team to a Super Bowl. He needs to be 100% healthy, playing at the peak level that he's been at. Because, man, oh man, this offense without him, now there's some good moments we'll get to. It's just not the same. And it still isn't even a good offense in general, even though he's individually balling out. And that's a separate issue we'll get to in a bit. But, oh, yeah, man, my hopes and dreams of Rams Super Bowl flashed before my eyes when he was wincing and holding his shin ankle. So, okay, hey, Devontae Adams can't make a catch in the end zone. They whiff on that. And then, thank God, but to your point earlier and my point earlier about the kicking being an issue, I mean, Joshua Cardi basically, like, I don't know,
Is that a weird
melon
kick?
punted that into a field goal. I mean, my God. I mean, to my point earlier, Rams Nation, Mark, his confidence is shot. It is. Whether, again, I'll say this one more time, because of the blocking on the O-line or because the dirty kicks are messing with him, his confidence is shot. Whether it's one or the other or both, he's got issues, and we're lucky he made that because that looked like a miss to me when he was launching off his foot.
We thought it was a miss. We were like, "Oh my god, he missed it."
Yeah.
It was a low it was a strange kick, and he's actually lucky it wasn't blocked as well, right?
Yeah.
In previous games, it would have been blocked. So, yeah, and not a confidence builder, even though he made it.
I mean, my God, dude, well, hey, we get some points. We're tied up there. Then, hey, Baltimore gets the ball back. They have another lengthy drive for themselves, but they end up doing nothing with it. They got to punt it back, right? They have their own holding penalties and drops, and Cooper Rush is getting pressured. Then Rams get the ball back, but then they have a quick 3-and-out themselves. And this is like, oh my God, guys. Like, I get it. I get it. They're playing for their football lives, the Ravens are, but man, Nakua goes out and it's just a 3-and-out immediately. It's like, geez, the wheeze, everyone, as Jordan Whittington should have made that catch, Mark, where it was a boot. Excuse me. It wasn't a boot, if my memory serves me correctly, but he's doing that intermediate crossing drag route, whatever name you like. And it was going to be a tough catch, but Whittington, it hits you in the hands. I think if he doesn't do the somersault, I think he catches it better. I think him flipping and doing all that had it pop out more. But that was another moment I was like, dude, just nothing is going our way this game. And I was like, I can't believe it. 3-and-out, Mark. And then, right after that, we have the penalty. We have the fumble by Baltimore. We recover it. I'm like, oh my God, man. All these defensive guys are just saving our ass this game, but not a shock that Troy Reader had a penalty. And I was like, are you kidding me? Of course. And then we had to repunt, and obviously they got the ball back there, Mark. But from the Jordan Whittington drop to the drama of, oh my God, we got the ball back to, oh no, Troy Reader, everyone's favorite Ram,
Was
caused a
that the
penalty,
play
which,
was that the play who he left early?
yeah, it was
Right.
that one. So it was that. And then I think, what is there, another penalty on that? I want to say
There was
Sean
multiple,
Dolak also had a penalty. I mean, it was just multiple, dude. It was a disaster on that play. And obviously, Troy Reader was the highlight, and everyone, he commits a penalty every once in a while on special teams, which is like, what are we doing out here, guys? Like, what are we doing? So those two plays, Mark, I mean, give me your thoughts. Whittington drop, recovered fumble got negated by Rams penalties, and then we had a re-kick and they got the ball back instead.
Well,
Sucks.
Whittington should have made that catch, but 2 things in his defense. One, or really 1 thing in his defense. Stafford made that throw, made it more difficult than it needed to be. He was
That is
wide
true.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hit him in the hands. And I just have a comment on special teams, a theory that my special assistant and I were considering. There were some special teams penalties that I thought were, the McCullough hold, they could have let go. It wasn't
Yeah, I
much.
know.
But I'm wondering if your thoughts on this, when a team like the Rams comes into a game with a, a um, notoriety for being really poor on special teams and committing penalties on special teams, do you think the refs are kind of looking for stuff to throw flags on, as opposed to a team that has a reputation for being really good on special teams? I want to go back and look at some other games and see how often one of the guards gets 1.5, 2 yards down the field, and how often they throw flags in those situations. Are they looking a little bit closer at teams like the Rams, who just have a hey, refs are humans too, right? They come into
Yeah.
games and boy, the Rams, man, they've been horrible on special teams. And then next thing you know, there's flags flying all over the place. Just a theory, and there's probably something to it.
Yeah, there is. To your point about human nature, let's be honest. I mean, refs aren't dumb. They watch games. I'm sure they're fans of
Yeah,
football outside of their duties, refereeing a game. And let's be honest, the league office is very, very involved with what is going on the field, off the field with players. Let's call it what it is. So refs are being notified, hey, this certain player talks a lot of shit. If he does it a bunch, eject him. Let's be real about it. There's no way conversations like that don't happen. To your point, hey, these teams hold a bunch and do a bunch of that. Be on the lookout for that. To your point of special teams, hey, this team jacks up a lot on special teams. Keep an eye out for that so we don't miss anything. And maybe sometimes they over officiate, which is
right.
probably the case. They miss calls. Like in this game, there's a lot of missed BS that happened to us, but oh well, we just got to deal with it, I guess. That's the only way you can move forward. But yeah, man, I mean, this Rams special teams unit is once again, Mark, the worst in the NFL, in my opinion.
Right. Seems
Punting,
like it. Yeah.
punt coverage, kicking unit. It's just 2023 was a disaster for a lot of reasons, and they survived it and got in the tournament. 2024 was good. Everything was going good. Evans was punting, the punt coverage, the kickoff coverage. Cardi was making field goals, no issues blocking. And now, only 1 year removed from being good objectively, they are now back to being, in my opinion, the worst in the NFL. I mean, what the hell is Sean McVay doing with special teams? What a horrible, horrible decision it was way back to fire Coach Bones from special teams, who had the Rams notoriously being the number 1 or number 2 ranked special teams unit in everything for a gazillion years with Jeff Fisher, St. Louis Rams, right? And even the early parts of LA here. Whatever happened with that, we'll maybe never know, with a disagreement of how it should be ran, schemes, coaching, etc. What a foolish and dumb idea it was by Sean McVay to fire Coach Bones, Mark. And now we have
Yeah.
multiple years in a row where this special teams is a liability and has lost them tons of games within the last 3 years. Let's call it what it is. So it better get fixed, right? Because Sean McVay doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, we've gone through multiple coordinators since Coach Bones. It's not like it's just been Coach Blackburn on special teams. He's fired and let go of other guys. So Sean doesn't know what he's doing there. Let's just call what it is. He doesn't know special teams. He doesn't know the right people to run it. And firing Coach Bones was a colossal mistake, a fossil mistake, whatever you want to call it. Jesus.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because coming into this season, I had really high hopes for this
Me
for the
too.
special teams units, and I will say that I feel really good. I'm very comfortable with Xavier Smith on the punt returns. He's not
Yeah, me too,
necessarily,
actually.
he's
Yeah.
he's not breaking any big ones, but he's been great with ball security, and he gets his 7, 8, 9, 10 yards every return, so no problems there. But everything else, Ethan Evans kind of up and down. Once in a while, he'll have a great boomer, and other times not so much. And Cardi, we don't need to talk about Cardi anymore.
Yeah. So there you go, Rams Nation. We're not a fan of special teams. McVay doesn't know what he's doing on that side of the ball since he fired Bones. Simple as that. I think we all in agreement with that based on what we've seen. So Ravens get the ball back with that second opportunity to return the punt. And with that, I mean, my goodness, Mark. I mean, they get a great return on that. Of course, 35 yards to our point of special team just being crappy. And then with a good opportunity, Derrick Henry bulldozes us multiple times in a row. And then their first and goal is like, yeah, we blew this game already at this point in my head. Then, hey, good stop on first down. Then second down, Mark, this shocked me, but not as shocking as I thought it would be now I'm looking back on it. But I was like, oh, of course they're doing this. Mark Andrews, tush push,
Right.
taking the
Right.
center or taking the snap under center. And I was like, of course they're going to score on this. But hey, Rams defense, shout out to that front seven and that whole goal line defensive formation. They hold strong. Andrews doesn't get anything. Then on third and goal at the 1 yard line, Mark Andrews again. They're like, let's do it again. We could do it. Rams defense once again goes up there, gets it. And then, speaking to referee bullshit, by the way, for the second week in a row, the Rams get stopped by the refs from recovering a fumble and running it back for a touchdown. Last week against the Niners on a kickoff, no one can tell me on planet Earth that that wasn't a fumble and shouldn't have been a scoop and score from the Rams on that play. And here we are yet again where Mark Andrews gets stuffed, forward progress, no whistles. Ball pops out, Jared Verse scoops and starts running. I was like, oh my God, defense bailed us out again. Wave it, wave it, wave. You see two refs out there running with Verse, letting the play go, saying, this is a live ball. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to score on this. Defense saved our ass. And then wave, wave, wave by other refs. Jared Verse stops, and he's like, are you effing kidding me? McVay arguing, how is forward progress stopped? To the ref's point, no, forward progress was stopped. It was done after that point. Give me a fucking break, dude. Excuse my language. That's 2 weeks in a row where it's not like the play was dragging on for an extra 2-3 seconds. I've seen fumbles be coughed up 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds into a pile, and refs and games count that as a fumble. 2 weeks in a row where it happened immediately. Give me a fucking break, everyone out there who's going to defend a ref on that or defends that in general. Ridiculous, Mark. But they got the stop on that third and goal. But before we move on to the next play, Mark, as I calm down a little bit, your thoughts on that play being stopped, not by all the refs. Two of them were saying game on. Two of them were like, no, no, no. I mean, your thoughts on that BS, dude. I couldn't believe it.
Well, yeah, and we replayed it and we watched it. The whistle came after Verse had the ball and was running
Yeah, dude.
upfield. So I don't know. That it's really strange. And there is a few. There have been too many of those this year, where in the previous play, I think it was the previous play, they let it go for much longer than they should have, and they're doing the tush push and pushing and pushing, and there's
Yeah.
obviously no progress, but there's no whistle, and then they finally blow the whistle, and then you go one play later, and they don't blow the whistle again, but oh, hold on, come on back, boys. Yeah, it was pretty frustrating.
Yeah, what a bunch of fucking bullshit this is, by the way, everyone. You should Rams Nation, you should be as pissed off as I am right now. Now, we won the game. Everything's fine. But 2 weeks in a row, we got screwed on that. And shoot, last week could have been a victory based on that scoop and score. It was going to be against the Niners on kickoff. Should have been a scoop and score with Jared Verse. God, that would have helped my fantasy so much. But oh well, that's a separate issue. But on the very next play, Mark, after the no scoop and score, they decide, okay, let's just go traditional run play. And the Rams defense stepped up, and then Jared Verse, the guy who should have had the scoop and score, makes the game-saving tackle at that point, in my opinion, on fourth and goal. Derrick Henry stuffed, loses 2 yards. I mean, that whole front seven was just absolutely fantastic on that final drive before halftime, Mark. They saved us. They saved us.
Yeah, yeah, that was probably there's two big plays. One of them we'll talk about in here in a minute.
Yeah.
that really turned the tide in this football game, and that was one of them.
It was, and at that point, tied 3-3, we lucked out, right? Probably should have been way worse as the Ravens offense just couldn't get their act together that whole first half. And I'm feeling, okay, we're tied. Thank you, defense, for saving us. You have multiple turnovers on downs, physical, taking the ball away turnovers, and the Rams offense hadn't done jack till squad. So I wasn't feeling great about it. I was feeling good about the defense and them keeping us alive, but I was like, how much longer could they do it at that point, Mark? But hey, we jump into the third quarter. Rams get the ball to start off. And okay, finally, we see some good things happen, right? You see a great 20-yard pass to Devontae cooking up the middle, right? Rams love those deep in dig routes. They're so good at that. I don't think any other team hits that route more times than not. And it's kind of crazy how defenses, I don't want to say let it happen, but just give that up all the time. But Matthew Stafford throws laser beams, and if you don't have a quarterback that throws laser beams, then forget it. So, hey, they connect on that. You see Davis Allen get involved, right? You see Konate Mumfield get involved and catch some big third down passes, right? You see Williams have some nice catches. And then on 4th and 2, Mark, as I'm like, I'm in favor of going for it. Like, field goals are not going to be made. Just F it. Matthew Stafford save us, which isn't a great formula long term, but no one open, no one open, no one open. And I'm like, oh, of course, no one's open. Matthew rolls out to his left and throws an absolute laser beam to everyone's favorite Ram, wink, wink, Kyron Williams. And he has an unbelievable catch on the sideline where, let's not forget, everyone, one cheek equals 2 feet. As I'm talking about Kyron's left butt cheek getting in, because I was worried from the immediate, sideline TV view. I was like, oh man, that's going to be close if his body hit out of bounds. But luckily, the very next replay, I was like, yep, that ass literally got in bounds. And I was like, oh my God, Kyron saved us. Great throw, great catch. I mean, your thoughts at that point, Mark? I was like, oh my God, we survived.
Yeah, fourth down, and I thought when Stafford rolled out, watching the replay of that, I don't think there's much chance of completing that pass. I really didn't think there
Me
was. I think
either.
he was just like chucking it, and
Yeah.
Kyron made a play. Kyron made
Yeah.
the play, and it was, to me, it was a little bit of redemption for him. I was glad to see it because I think he's a guy that cares so much, and the heat he's taken after what happened in their previous game. I was really happy to see him make the stop on fourth down at the goal line was play number one, and
Yeah.
this is play number two. Man, it
Yeah.
was it was pretty much that changed the momentum in that game so much. I mean, just think if he can't hang on to that, we turn it over on downs
Yeah.
in
We're
a
in a bad
three to
spot.
three game. Yeah. So big play, big play.
And then luckily, hey, the very next play, Kyron has a walk in, quote unquote, touchdown. Everyone blocks it perfectly. He just scoots in. And I'm like, oh my, thank God. Thank freaking God. But let me say this about Kyron real quick. And I point this out every week, truthfully, since a couple of years ago, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just not involved in the passing game enough. Yes, he had 2 touchdowns receiving last week, and that's good. But get him out there, run some deep routes. We know he can run those Texas, whatever you want to call them, angle routes, right? Where he kind of like runs to the out and then slants it back in. He's good at that. He catches a lot of good yardage every year with that route. We know he obviously can run to the flat, and when he wants to hold on to the ball, he can. And I just think that part of his game is not utilized enough. And then let's get him some screen passes. Yes, is he not the most explosive? But again, I'm going to keep saying this. He was good at Notre Dame in the screen passing game. Why is he not involved? Why is that play not being called at all? Are our linemen that tubby and slow where they can't do it? I don't think so. So anyway, catches like that, his receiving ability, which comes up every once in a while when he gets thrown to, I just don't understand why McVay does not involve him in screen passes of some capacity, or even just like what Darrell Henderson used to do, where running those deep, routes to this go routes. And, remember Henderson, he would always make plays on that. I think Kyron has that ability too. So that was another moment where I was like, gosh dang it. Kyron needs more attempts in the pass game. And luckily he pulled up there, scored a touchdown. So there's that on that, Mark. But the very next possession, thank freaking God to you, Zay Flowers, because Nate Landman to his historic Rams record-breaking tackle day with 17. He's like, oh, let's not forget my own superpower. Well, boom, peanut punch on Zay Flowers, recovered by Captain Q. He had a good day, getting turnovers. And then Rams get the ball back immediately. And a lot of people are teasing Quinn Lake, like, oh, he should have scooped and scored on that. Yada, 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 as he said in the post game. I'll look back at the film and see if that was the case. But, oh, thank God, Mark. This is what I was like, please, let's just put them in the dirt. But, I mean, Nate Landman, his superpower with the peanut one, real quick, who's like, why do you call it peanut? Pat Tillman, who his nickname was Peanut, as he was a small guy, I guess, his entire life before hitting high school. So he got called Peanut. He was famous with the Chicago Bears for always punching out the football. So, hey, he had the nickname Peanut still in the NFL. And everyone's like, yeah, the peanut punch. It's unstoppable. Nate Landman's got an unstoppable peanut punch too, Mark. Incredible.
Yeah, it started to feel like things are going the Rams' way a little bit finally here in the second half. I'm making up for the things that went against them, and I think that's a measure of, if everything's even as far as breaks and calls and all that, the Rams win this game. And I still think a lot more went against them. So give them credit for pulling out the win, but that was another play that in the second half, the end of the first half and then the second half, things start to go the Rams' way a little bit.
Yeah, so hey, we get the ball back, a nice pass to Jordan Whittington. Hey, we see Puka Nacua on the sideline at that point. I'm like, oh, thank God, dude. And then after a play action fake boot, Tyler Higbee's just wide open in the flat, and thank God we scored that. And finally, I was like, oh, thank God. Now everyone wants to get their act together. We're up 17-3. I'm feeling good. How are you feeling after the wide open Higbee touchdown, Mark?
Yeah, I'm figuring, the way our defense is playing, I feel like I wouldn't say it's in the bag. It's never in the bag with this
Yeah,
team,
it's
but
not.
feeling pretty darn good. Yeah.
So hey, I mean, they're chucking away. So after Rams score, Baltimore gets the ball back, and hey, Cooper Rush is just dinking and dunking. Mark Andrews here. Derrick Henry's getting chunk yardage and getting, you know, 3 yards, 4 yards, and I'm like, all right, defense, I know you're probably tired of being out there all the damn time. And then luckily, my goodness, you see Zay Flowers yet again on a jet sweep handoff, fumbles it, and then Tyler Davis catches it, snags it. We get another turnover after a long drive from Baltimore there. Mark had the ball for like 7 minutes, and Zay Flowers coughs it up again. I'm like, please put this team away. But I mean, your thoughts about Zay Flowers is coughing it up again, man. And, Rams is being opportunistic, right place, right time again.
Yeah, and Zay Flowers is a guy in the AFC. I don't get to see him play very much, but man, he is electric with the ball in his hands. And the first fumble, he was zigging and zagging, and a lot of times
Yeah.
that's what happens. And then this one, it just a bad exchange there between Rush and him. It's on Flowers though, so a great player, but man, he had two really big mistakes that Rams will take it.
Yeah, they'll take it for sure. So, I mean, hey, we get the ball, and now we enter the fourth quarter finally after a crazy third quarter, everyone. And hey, Matthew Stafford, you're seeing Puka Nacua out there sparingly. So I'm thinking, oh my God, he's okay enough to be out there, but he's not in there full time. You see him on the sideline, suited up, not like limping and wheezing and complaining about the ankle. But hey, there's some nice throws here, nice runs by Kyron, etc. Then luckily there was a penalty where Devontae was going deep and Matthew Stafford kind of underthrew it, but Wiggins totally PI'd him. And I was like, oh my God, we're getting bailed out again, Mark. But then, hey, we have a nice run again by Blake Corum and others where he breaks the tackle, looks good. Then we have some penalties, some other mumbo jumbo. We're in the red zone finally, right, Mark? And then Terrence Ferguson gets a jet sweep. I'm like, that's not his thing. I was like, ay, 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 Sean McVay. I get it. Get Terrence Ferguson the ball, but let him run routes, catch it that way. I'm not saying Terrence can't. He did some jet sweep stuff at Oregon, but like, Xavier Smith can't take that. Or, Jordan Whittington's good at jet sweeps, but like the tight end who you don't feature ever and who's not in the flow of the game hardly ever, Mark. I mean,
Yeah, he
What
looked
did
at
you think
that.
on that, bro? I was like, what a dumb play call. I didn't like that at all with Terrence Ferguson on the jet sweep on 3rd and
Yeah,
goal.
to me, put the play call aside, Ferguson did not look good on that call. He
Yeah.
did not look he looked like he was lumbering, and
Yeah,
that's what
dude.
worried me is like I maybe it's, he's just getting his feet wet in the NFL, but he did not look comfortable. And yeah, that play is going nowhere quick. Maybe that may be the last time we see that one.
Yeah, I mean, look at again, Terrence had done some jet sweep stuff at Oregon. Okay, you've seen him do it. But the point is, he's not even a starter. He's not in the flow of the game. His juices, his adrenaline, his feel for how Baltimore plays defense, and et cetera, are not in sync. So then it's like, and one of the biggest players of the game, and one of the most important downs in the red zone. Oh yeah, jet sweep to young rookie Ferguson, who you don't play ever. That was just it's another play call, Mark. And again, people call me a pessimist and like a hater for McVay for play calling an offense, but it's just like in these tight situations, McVay's play calls suck more times than
Yeah,
not. They
he's
just do.
probably
I'm tired
maybe he's
of like acting like they don't suck. They do.
yeah,
They're not good enough.
maybe this is an ill-advised reaction to people saying he's not creative, and you gotta
It felt that way, didn't it?
yeah,
But again,
right.
Whittington's good. Xavier Smith, like those guys, I would rather see get a jet sweep. Devontae, obviously, no. Let's be real. Jordan's good. Xavier, like those guys, at least would have the speed and like the okay, I know what to do. I've done this a gazillion times. Ferguson looked. What's the word I want to say? He looked like just very lumber. Right,
Right,
just
yeah.
very, and then again, he's not in the flow of the game. It was just the wrong guy to run that play with. And I was, what are we doing, McVay? So, okay, hey, we're going for it on 4th and goal. Had no problem with that. I was like, let's do it. Let's put this team away. But of course, Ravens blitz, it's not picked up. And then Matthew Stafford gets sacked for about like 5-6 yards and a turnover on downs. I was like, oh, of course. Of course. Of course. Every time McVay runs a 4th down play, shit just don't go right. Blocks aren't made, pass or run. And I'm like, gosh dang it, Mark. And it's a shame. He looked to throw to, I think, Nakua on that. I think he was in the game at that point still. But if he had literally, Mark, another like second and a half or even a second, Devontae was wide open in the back of the end zone running free, and he would have hit him. I don't even think that's a debate. I'll look at the film. Maybe or maybe not that's true. But just based on the short replays, I was like, damn it, if they just would have held on another second, I know Stafford would have at least attempted to throw to Devontae, and it would have been way better than just getting blown up on that. But your thoughts on that, Mark, right after the crappy 3rd down Ferguson jet sweep?
Well, is that the drive where most of us were saying kick the field goal?
A lot of people were, but and look at, I get it, but I personally had no confidence in Cardi at that point in the
You think
game.
that's the with the driving decision? Yeah, I don't know, man. I
I
would have
didn't.
kicked it there. I would have
I
kicked
get
it
it.
there
I
because
get it.
yeah,
I get
but
it.
yeah, we go back and forth on this, after you miss the one kick, we're like, never just go for it on 4th down. Just go for it on 4th down from now on. We cannot rely on this guy. But that's the one situation I think I would have kicked it, but that's just me.
No, I get it. But again, for me personally, after a miss easy kick, almost watermelon kick, miss, I had no confidence. I had no confidence. All the theories that I was saying earlier, I fully was engulfed in that mindset. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Let's get a touchdown and put the dagger in. Their offense hasn't done shit. If we get up by basically 3 touchdowns, like forget about it. So I had no problem with it. But of course, no one executes on it. And gosh dang it, Devontae would have had a chance, I think, but it is what it is. So turnover on downs, Mark. Where I'm just like, why can't we just put these Tim away? We just can't do it. So hey, at that point, you see Snoop Tyler Huntley in, and I'm like, oh, of
Right.
course. Now we get the running quarterback that's gonna be running around. But I get it. Cooper Rush had done Jack Tilly's squat, and that was the right decision for Baltimore. But as a Ram guy, I'm like, oh, of course. And then Huntley's gonna be going in and doing a bunch of stuff. So then, yeah, you see Huntley run around, Derrick Henry's running around, little pass here, a little pass there, right? DeAndre Hopkins has a fantastic back shoulder catch, I want to say, or Kobe Durant just whiffs on the tackle. I was like, oh, guys, come on. Fumble, they recover it, right? They keep the drive alive. penalties, 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 and then Snoop Huntley on a 4th and 12 runs for it. And I was like, oh, of course he's getting it, Mark. Little pass here, sack, little pass there. And then you see Zay Flowers, where that should have been another 3rd and short stop. Outside corner whiffs on that. I want to say, who was that? Emmanuel Forbes, or was that Kobe Durant? Or I remember he's blanking on that. I think it was Quinn Lake actually that should have had a
Oh,
chance to.
it was Lake, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not that he was gonna make a tackle, but he was gonna swipe at it, just misses it, and I'm like, oh my god. And then Zay Flowers, and again, good receiver objectively, wiggles around, gets tons of yards. I was like, guys, we're gonna let Snoop Huntley get them back in this thing. Then luckily, Murchison gets a sack. 3rd and 10, Zay Flowers and Huntley can't connect. And then Huntley's getting pressured and he just makes a bad throw, intended, quote unquote, for Rashad Bateman, and then turnover on downs. And then I'm like, oh my God, Mark. Snoop Huntley was carrying them. And luckily, Rams defense stepped up and made some plays and when they had a couple bad moments on that drive.
Yeah, the defense really stepped up in that drive and the following one. Defense overall had a really good game. Aside from the early, getting gashed by Derrick Henry early, and maybe letting Tyler Huntley get away a little bit on two or three runs. Pretty solid day, and they really closed it out, as you'll talk about here in a second, I think.
Yeah, so good on that. And then, hey, Rams, I'm like, okay, let's run the clock out. Let's get it done. But then, that's a quick nothing burger on that one. Jordan Whittington fumbles on a jet sweep on 3rd down. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, finally the guy who's supposed to get a jet sweep, he can't hang on to it. Then they get the ball back. And I'm like, just why are we messing with this crap? So, hey, luckily, Byron Young said, hey, I'm a Pro Bowl level guy this year. I lead the league in sacks now. Has 2 back-to-back sacks on 1st and 2nd down. Puts them in a insane 3rd and long. Snoop Huntley completes a pass to DeAndre Hopkins, who wasn't really involved other than a couple of times, which is kind of shocking. And then he has a fantastic 4th and 6 short pass to, again, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm like, gosh, dang it, guys. Just finish the damn game. But, hey,
Right.
some incompletions here. Another incompletion where he's getting pressure to try to throw to Justice Hill. Didn't go anywhere. And then Jared Verse pressures Snoop Huntley, and he basically throws that thing away to DeAndre Hopkins. And Rams take a knee, ended the ball game 17-3, excuse me. But I mean, man, Mark, that whole freaking game is just playing with their quote unquote food. This Rams offense play calling just isn't good enough. The execution by all players isn't good enough. But I want to shout out the defense here because man, oh freaking man, Mark. I mean, these guys were so good. And at the end of the broadcast, for anyone who saw, 3 points at home was the 2nd worst offensive performance ever in the history of the Baltimore Ravens. So this Rams defense absolutely smoked them. Fumbles, turnovers. Yes, if Lamar's playing, we probably don't win this game. Let's just be quite honest with ourselves. But for them to have an historic day against a good franchise like Baltimore, shout out to that defense, Mark.
Yeah, and aside from, like I said, aside from the early runs by Henry, and Henry ended up having a pretty darn good day. But other than that, yeah, off defense stepped up, and it's a good thing they did because surprisingly, our offense couldn't never really got rolling consistently
Yeah.
against a defense that's been pretty bad all year.
Yeah. But hey, hey, again, to hold myself accountable, I picked the Rams to choke this game and not play well. But luckily, the Ravens played worse. And
Yeah,
so we
right.
came out on the victory column, which is great. So thank goodness. And how about some game balls, everyone? Let's get that going, right? Players that balled out. I think you can probably name a couple after we've highlighted some guys today. How about Nate freaking Landman, career day, 17 tackles, peanut punch. Quinn Lake, multiple turnovers, fantastic. Kyron Williams, game-saving catch, most likely, and touchdown right after. Murchison with his run stopping and then his fumble recovery. And then to our point, the defense as a whole. I mean, thank God for all those guys.
Yeah, I feel bad leaving Byron Young off, because he probably deserves
Yeah,
to be up there too, but,
that's
the
fair.
defense as a whole,
Yeah.
as Sean McVay said, he gave a game ball to the edge rushers,
Yeah, they deserved it.
versus Young, so, kinda representing that by throwing the defense up there as a whole.
Yeah, I mean,
And And I got to say, Kyron, I think deserves it just for that catch. That catch was amazing, and I give him a game ball just for that darn catch.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that catch saved us, and I'm team get Kyron involved in the pass game, more screens, please. But okay, real quick, a little summary of the bad. We went through a bunch of it, right? Red zone trouble, got to get that better. Cardi's kicking, please, my God, do something. Puka injury scared us. Hopefully, it's not as bad as what it looked. Passing on the field goal for a lot of people wasn't smart, but in my opinion, no faith in Cardi. I have no problem with
Yeah,
that.
that's me speaking there, not Ian.
I know,
So
but
I
I'm
threw
saying, but
that up there.
that's
Yeah,
a universal thought with a lot of people.
yeah.
I totally get it. Totally get it. But I had no faith in Cardi. I had no problem with the fourth down call, but not good either way. Nothing happened. Good happened anyway. Right. Henry getting yardage, right? Penalties, negating turnovers, right? We talked about Landman and Dolak. I'm not Landman, excuse me. Troy Reader and Dolak having miscues on them when we should have got another turnover. Right. Early whistle the refs. Screw you guys. You guys suck. You know, drops, penalties, with
We,
infractions.
we haven't we haven't talked about those neutral zone infractions.
Yeah,
They're
I mean
really
that's right. I
embarrassing.
mean, I had forgot about those. My fault. But
Yeah,
like we're letting Cooper Rush fucking snap count us. Like,
yeah,
what are we doing, guys? But hey, they had a great performance overall, so I'll let that slide. You too, right, Mark? And
yeah.
then Ferguson jet sweep was, what are we doing? Right? I got to be more creative. Not that way, bro, with a guy you don't ever use. And then 100 in total yards in the first half, 102. It's just a lot of stuff that could get corrected that needs to be corrected. But how about the good? One more time. We'll end on a positive note, right? Fourth down stop, all the tush bushes, Jared Verse balling out on that. Goal line stop, peanut punch from Nate Landman. Third quarter, finally getting some touchdowns. Kyron saving our ass on the 4th and 2, 30-yard pass. Murchison playing good, getting the recovery. Mumfield, hey, again, shout out to Mumfield. He had a big third down catch. He getting involved, so we know, he can play at least, thank God. And then we didn't talk about this enough, and forgive me for not mentioning this earlier, Mark, with the defense. Sean Dolak, he split time with Troy
Right.
Reader, but I'm tired of seeing Troy Reader again. Shout out to his Super Bowl season where he played good football then. Let's be objective and not hate on that. But since then, a lot of bad moments, not enough good. Sean Dolak should be the main guy if Omar Speights does miss more time. And I think based on what I've seen off TV, and I'll watch the film and get a better idea, we got to go Dolak. And I was happy to see him get involved and see him make plays and look like he belongs. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be an all-pro linebacker
No,
anytime
no.
soon, but he looked like he fit. He looked like he fit. He looked like an NFL linebacker. Made a couple of
Yep.
really nice plays. There's a
Mhm.
couple times I think he looked a little lost in coverage, especially, but certainly an upgrade over Reader. And I don't like to hate on any Ram. A guy like Troy Reader, who's a stand-up person, player, and he fits the Rams culture. A lot of good things to say about Troy Reader, but we got to put the best guys out there. And I think at this point, it's Sean Dolak.
Yeah. So hopefully we see more Sean Dolak there, everyone. But how about, again, some stats, scoring summary, et cetera, at Stafford. Not a great day, right? Very inefficient with drops and miscues from pass catchers. But hey, 181 yards. We'll take that 181. Should have been more. But one touchdown, no INTs. We'll take that from Stafford for sure. Kyron, only 13 carries for 50 yards. Like to see a little bit more. But hey, got that touchdown, had the big catch. Devontae, only 4 for 39. Nothing crazy. Higbee, 4 for 40. Good to see the tight end room get involved. And then, hey, Byron Young with 2 sacks. Murchison, Verse, Landman, 17 total tackles. And then, Baltimore, Derrick Henry had over 100 yards rushing, so that was not great to see. But luckily, they couldn't do Jack Tilley's squat with it, Mark, so that was good. But overall, nothing crazy. But hey, how about the team stats, right? Ravens had the ball so much longer. I mean, they really, really played poorly on that side of the ball, and we're very lucky that was the case, right? Had more first downs, had more total yards, had almost the same passing yards, which is crazy, had significantly more rushing yards in total, right? Yards per rush was almost 5, but they had the 4 sacks given up, and then they had the 3 critical turnovers, and even the turnover on down stuff too, Mark, which is the biggest uh, factor in this game. But again, if you were to tell everybody all the other stats, not show them sacks and turnovers, which again I understand are important. People are like, "Oh yeah, Baltimore won this game."
Yeah, and the time of possession, it really demonstrates how well this defense really played, right? They were
Yeah,
on the field a lot, and
yeah,
there was one play where Byron Young looked like he was so tuckered out, and, the whole defense, man, they were out there a lot, and at the end of the
yeah. They
game, they
were.
just closed it down, closed it out for us.
Yeah, I mean, thank God on that, everyone. Defense showed out for being out there so damn long. And then, hey, the scoring summary, right? Not a lot going on. Cardi
Yeah,
field
right.
goal. Cardi almost missed field goal. Jeez, the freaking wheeze. And then Williams touchdown run. And then the wide open Higby one. So we're glad all that happened. Just a recap on that real quick. And then the box score, right? Not a lot of points being scored, but the Rams surge in that third quarter. That's over the top. And yeah, I get it. You could say, hey, Ian, be a little more happy. The Rams won by 14 points. But God, that was the most ugly 14 points I'd seen in a while. And shout out to that Rams defense. They don't have a historic day against the Ravens. Nate Landman doesn't have a historic Rams tackling day, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the Rams probably lose this game. Let's just be honest about it. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. What if that? What if this? Rams pulled it off. Defense balled out, and all you can ask for is a win, Mark, right?
Yeah, if that score, I just did not see that coming. I saw Rams win
Yeah.
coming down the pipe, but 17-3 against this Ravens defense, man. And yeah, it's amazing, really, that they're not that they won, but it's just that score. Just did not see it coming.
Yeah, me either on that. But hey, we survive and advance, survive and move forward. Yes, that's more of a playoff term, but that's all you can do, right? Just stay afloat. This team could still win the West, even though they're not playing grid football or consistent football, I should say, on both sides, more offense and play calling and just overall execution. But to our original thought before the season, Mark, and we said, hey, let's go through the defensive roster. Do we both agree that this Rams defense should be a top 10 unit? And we both said anything less than top 10 is a serious, serious disappointment. And I think through these 6 games, Mark, they've been playing like a top 10 unit. And they showed once again today that, hey, we can carry a game if the offense sucks. And they're showing why they belong in the upper echelon of defense in the entire NFL, despite Akello being hurt, despite Omar Spades being hurt, despite tons of guys just being flaky on a play-in-play basis. They're still a top 10 unit. And I think that's something to hang your hat on, Rams fans.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a negative Nancy here a little bit, but I'm still
Sure.
concerned how we're going to do against the Bucks and the Lions passing
No, that's true.
attacks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not quite there as a team. I love where we're at, especially on defense. Offense is a little bit up and down, but we're still a top 10, top 5 offense, I think, despite this performance.
Yeah.
You watch the Bucks and the Lions. I'm just sticking to the NFC here. We have
Mm-hmm.
some work cut out for us if we're going to hang with
Absolutely.
these teams in the playoffs.
I mean, even Seattle's putting up points with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Sam Darnold's looking like a good, efficient quarterback as well. So, I mean, hey, Rams defense, balling out. Rams offense, get your damn act together. Everyone, other than Matthew Stafford, I think he's playing at elite level, but it's
Yeah,
just too Matthew Stafford reliant. I know McVay leans into that. And of course, when you have an elite quarterback, you lean into that. But play calling's not good enough. Play calling execution from McVay's not good enough. And the execution from players isn't good enough all around. It's just not good enough for how good this offense should be. You look at player by player, it's not acceptable. But luckily, winning games and they're keeping themselves alive to win the West as, hey, thanks, Tampa Bay. Let Baker bake. One of my favorite short-term
yeah,
Rams ever, probably. And I always root for him. He MVP quarterback himself right now. And
right.
shout out to, Arizona continuing to lose. I mean, we're not shocked by that, unfortunately, for them. And Seattle, they're still alive, but we haven't played them. We control our destiny with them. So we are still in it, Rams Nation. And it started with today's 17-3 win against these beat up, but they fought hard. Baltimore Ravens. So, hey, let me know in the comments section your thoughts on the Rams. What are the positives? What are the negatives? I guess I could guess right now what they are, but I want to hear from you. And then let me ask you, man, like, what are your thoughts on what needs to be done with these special teams and offensive play calling or just offensive execution? What needs to be done? I want to hear your thoughts. You've heard tons of mine and Mark's. So let me know in the comment section there below. But before we get out of here, Mark, anything else?
No, on to England and get to 5 and
Yeah,
2.
I know. No crap, as the Rams will stay in Baltimore, which I think makes sense, right? Stay on that Eastern time zone so the flight's not so catastrophic from LA to London. It'll just be from Maryland to London. That's saving 6 hours right there, which is a big amount of time. But hey, whether you were at the game in Baltimore, Maryland, I saw some of you guys out there. Whether you were here in LA at a watch party, you were at home with friends, family, your loved ones, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, rep that blue and gold. Rep it loud, rep it proud, and no matter where you are on planet Earth, remember, throw the horns up and go Rams, baby.